Thank you, Emma Shan. Thank you, all of you. First, I have to confess. I have to tell you I had a little struggle with this presentation today because this topic is just too excited. I get too excited. And I did the first draft. I did a rehearsal. And I was then, oh my God, you will die. And we don't want that. So I refigured and restructured the whole thing to make you valuable still and get some fun out of that, because this is why we are also here today. And also I would like to thank you, all of the presenters, because actually you did help me a lot. You did cover a lot of those topics that I was struggling with that I couldn't fit just in that 45 minutes. So thank you for that. You made my life easier. Yay. So what I'm going to talk about today, as Gábor in the morning talked about, you don't need an agile transformation. Instead, I'm saying you need more than an agile transformation. You need an organization that is designed to success. As Emma already mentioned, and you can also see, hey, this is very similar. Oh, wait, no, maybe not the picture, but I'm a colleague of Gábor, so I'm part of Sprint Consulting, and we are working together. So we are facing very similar challenges. Even though we are working with different clients, we have very similar issues to face with. And during the presentation yesterday and today, I felt that, okay, I'm not alone. We have these issues together. We have these issues in common. So maybe we have some solutions, or we have some approach that can help all of us. And that I would like to try to show you today. So, as Gábor already introduced, Agile consultancy has changed from making assessment to doing trainings and creating a transformation backlog and execute it together with our client. Yes, it has changed. I would like to show you a couple of traps or examples or failures that what we are seeing today in the market, in the organization, what is happening. The first one. Okay, we did the training. Now what? So we've seen many of these organizations that, okay, we know what we are going to do. You just bring me the trainings, you just train our people, and leave the rest of us. And okay, then some of the times when we are asked to assess or help them to move further, we simply see that training is not enough. Training helps you to start your journey. It helps you to understand the basics. It helps you to do Agile. It will not help you to be Agile, to understand what is behind, why we are doing the stand-ups, why we are doing the plannings. We need much more than that. But sometimes it's still happening that, okay, let's do the trainings and we will figure out the rest. Another trap or failure is scaling. Whenever there's a team who is successful, and the department, the organization, the division sees that, whoa, they're doing great, so let's scale it. Let's scale it up. So let's choose the Spotify model. Okay. No, don't do that. Especially there is no such thing as Spotify model. I tell you, this is something that Spotify, as a streaming company, looked like 10 years ago, not today, and not in your case, so please don't do that. Or we have many trends like SAFe, that we seeing the similar issues when companies trying to scale and choose a scaling framework or a model, seeing that, okay, now we can tailor. Yes, of course we can tailor it. So let's just pick what is good to us, what things that makes us more agile, more working together, and more collaborated. And at the end, well, it's just, we don't have the same result. Well, it's something is still missing. So again, very similar what we're also teaching. Whenever you have a framework for Scrum, for example, or whenever you have a scaling framework or a method, don't tailor it, at least not at the beginning, because you will not have the results that you expect from that. So what are the scaling challenges we also have? Not just tailoring, but culture. It's not enough to do what we are doing. We need to understand what we are doing, because whenever we want to change, we are changing. Culture eats the change for breakfast, because until our culture is not changing and our culture don't understand what we are doing and why we are doing, the change will not remain. We will go back to our culture. So we need to change culture. And as Diana highlighted in the morning yesterday, leadership is a key in that, because without leadership, we cannot change. They can help us to move further. They can support us to learn more, and they can invite us to these discussions. What else? So other than culture, the way of working is one of failures in scaling. So, okay, now we scaled, we have all those framework implemented, but some of the processes have not changed. We try to do the same budgeting process, the same HR process in those scalings, and at the end, you can say, it's just not working. Not even mention technology, but I think that's another talk we can talk about. And there's those misconceptions we all know related to Agile. I think you all can tell me a lot, so I can share some of my favorites. For example, Agile is Scrum. I've encountered many teams where I was invited that, hey, we did the trainings, we are doing Agile, and we need some help to foster the collaboration and make it a bit more lively. I went there, I looked around, and I see that everyone did Scrum, even though it doesn't make any sense. So that's another reason to think that sometimes we forget that Scrum is not Agile. Agile is a mindset, it's a culture, it's a way of thinking. Scrum is just an implementation, and an implementation for software development or development only. And that's the second one I really love. Okay, we are now Agile, so we have Scrum teams doing iterative development. But how about the product? How about discoveries? How about creating those backlogs? So there are product owners or named product owners sitting there, and they just don't know what to do, because the company thought, okay, we go Agile, we introduced Scrum, but we haven't touched our product. We haven't touched how the product owner should work and what Agile frames or tools they could use to also be more iterative, more customer-centric. And the best one I just heard this week, I delivered the training for product owners at the beginning of the week. And one of the product owners said, he was more of an operative product owner, and he said that he has a product manager, but he has a feeling that he has not much connection to the customers. And once they asked him that, hey, what about the customer, what the customer says? And he replied, well, I don't know, but I will not ask him because they will not know. And the product owner was surprised and asked why. Because Henry Ford already told us. And I have the same face, same look at my face, and I was okay. So if he meant about that famous quote Henry Ford was quoting, that if I would ask our customers what they would wanted faster horses. But that's not the point. That's not the point, that the customer doesn't know what they want. Yes, they don't want the solution. They don't know the solution, but they have problems. They have issues, what we need to solve. And that's what we need to focus on. So instead of focusing on only delivery, we need to understand our customers better. Okay, let's move on. And even though we have some results, we have some Scrum teams running, at the end of the year, we still have management standing in front of that precise strategic plans and looks, hey, why this ship hasn't sailed? What is the problem? What do you think the problem is? Wrong environment, yes, could be. Yeah, the ship is not on water. Why it's not on the water? Because it wasn't said that it should sail. They wanted the ship. So the point here is strategy, and successful strategy has many steps. But one major step is that many companies fail to bring is that aligning the company, aligning the teams to execute strategy. And naively, many leaders think that, okay, executing strategy means that we are creating a rigid process to cascading all those messages down to the employees, or down to the teams. We are creating campaigns. Okay, this is a strategy. This is the direction where we are going. But then, where's the alignment? They leave the alignment on the individual. And based on the understanding, well, this will be the result. So we need to think about that. So when I'm saying scaling is not enough, Agile transformation as per se is not enough. We need to have an enterprise agility. We need to have all parts of the organization going and changing the mindset. In the picture you can see a pack of wild beasts, and in the nature, they are moving from one territory to another to find. So they are adapting, they are changing, they are looking for new territories to find food. And their cumulative pace is the same as the slowest member of the pack. And this is the very same with our organizations. And even Leigh Burns created his Agile theory of constraints, that an Agile organization can only be as Agile as its least Agile division and part. And that's very true. So we need to look into that, because once a team is successful, they will be limited by the other teams, by the division. When we are scaling up, the division became Agile, but we are now limited by the rest of the organization. So our focus is to move to enterprise agility, and make our whole organization agile, from IT to legal to marketing to training, each part of the organization. But how we should start that? Of course, we need to start that with strategy and align our whole organization to strategy. And that is, we can use lean portfolio management approach. And now you can think, okay, but this is portfolio management. This is not about designing organizations. But at the end, you will see that it is a great approach to really understand how an organization should be designed, how an organization can really create value, focusing on the customers. So this is a great start, but I'd like to highlight this is not a model. This is an approach. So to introduce this approach, we need a lot of leaders, a lot of mindset changes, and cultural changes. Okay, to introduce you the approach, I brought to you a visionary and imaginary company. Now, today it will not be Acme, but Cumulus Cloud, an IT organization that wants to have, wants to grow. They would like to be a big one in their field or in their area, which is cloud computing. They have many services already, automated and manual testing, managed services, and also they're doing body shopping services, but they want to be a major cloud computing company. So they create their purpose, they create their vision and mission. And just like yesterday from Jeev, we already heard a lot about vision and mission. And it's important to know and differentiate between the two, because again, just from this topic, what is the difference between mission and vision, I could have created another topic or a two days training. So it's really an exciting topic, but to be short and safe on it. Vision is a long-term goal, an idealistic state of the future. That is a company vision. That is your organizational vision. Why a mission statement is how the company wants to pursue that vision. How do we want to reach that future state? So we do have that in case of our company. They created their organizational vision, which now needs to be, in a larger context, more customer-centric. So it's not something that we want to have more profit on. It's really need to focus on the customer, what problems we want to solve for our customers, and how we want to see to make them in the future. So we have that. The next step is strategy, but not just the strategy. I've just made an example of it. So one that we create yearly. We have that painful 2 days, 3 days, sitting there where we'll painfully create a strategy, and a year later we're just standing in front of that boat that doesn't sail. So no, this is not the strategy I'm talking about. This is adaptive strategy, what Jeev was talking about yesterday. It should be iterative. It should be enable the team to change. It should be also adaptive as the circumstances are changing. This strategy should be communicated, not just like a campaign that, hey, this is where we are going. No, it should be clearly highlighted which part of the organization needs to do what, so that these strategic, these visions need to be break down into strategic objectives. In the example, you can see that our Cumulus Cloud, one of the strategic objective is that they want to differentiate their technology and other service capabilities to expand market share with its brand loyalty. Of course, based on our strategy, we will have more strategic objectives, but just for the sake of this example, I will highlight this one. Now, what's the next step? We need to align our teams based on these objectives. But it's just, again, not just saying that this is where we are going and leave the team about it. We need to align those parts of the organization, making sure that they can relate with that strategic objectives. So we need to break it down further and make sure that these objectives have outcomes, and outcomes that will be measurable over time. In our example, our strategic outcome is to create innovative product and service offering. This is just one of the outcomes that we might break down one strategic theme, strategic objectives into multiple themes to ensure that now further down we know our teams know what they need to do. But before that, we need to understand outcomes over output. So what is the difference? In case of the Henry Ford example, so they wanted faster horses. That's basically an output. We want a horse. But what is the outcome? The outcome is that I want to reach the same place, faster. So that's the outcome. That's the value I get. Outcome is not just the product we are creating. That's an output. Outcome is whenever it really gives value to the customer to use those services and products. So we need to have outcomes and outcome-based strategic teams. Now, when we have those outcomes, we now see that which of the portfolios we already have can contribute to those outcomes. If we don't have that yet, we need to disrupt the system. We need to disrupt the system to the right way. We need to understand what are the outcomes we want to bring to reach our strategic objectives and our vision, and create those portfolios and create value streams, not just portfolios. So instead of silos, instead of functions, we need to understand our value creation streams. Who are they? How they are creating value? And again, yesterday, Jeev was talking about linear and non-linear value stream. We need to understand them. What is the difference between them? What is we can observe and work in a linear way, and what is not? Are we producing a solution that can be a linear value stream from the idea to the customer, or are we enabling the creation of that solution? So that we need to understand and help those value streams to be created. You can see in our case there are many value streams in the portfolios, and once the value streams are created, now they will start to deliver frequently. Because otherwise we will not learn, we will not get feedback, we will not be able to adapt, we will not be able to change. So they need to deliver frequently and feed back to the portfolio. Are we doing the right way? Are we going in the right directions? Of course, we need to have the right metrics for that, but that's another presentation. So feeding back to the portfolio, we need to have some other things to do. We need to shorten our planning and funding cycle. Until our planning is shortened, okay, we are doing iteratively, we are delivering values, but the budgeting is still like a yearly thing. We will not be able to deliver the right thing, not even delivering the right outcomes. So shortening the planning and funding cycles will be another topic to look into that. Whenever we do that, we will continuously feed it back till the top to the strategic objectives, that what are the value streams are delivering, what are the feedback they need to get, what are the funding they need to have to deliver those outcomes and values until we reach that vision, those strategic objectives. Now, what else we need to do on the way? We need to balance capacity and demand. So we have portfolios, we have value streams, but we might not forget about that. We shouldn't push them with a lot of work, because otherwise what will happen? If you have a printer and you shove the paper into the printer, will it print faster? No, it will stuck and probably broke. And that will happen with your system, with your organization as well. If you push too many things on them, on the value streams, even though they would be able to deliver it, they will stuck because it's just too much. You need to balance it out. And you also need to optimize the flow. You need to enable those value streams that there are no more limitations, no more constraints, that no waste in the system. They can really produce and create outcomes and value to the customers. So, like in nature, and also Gábor talked about that, we are hardwired to be adaptive. Otherwise, we will not be sit today here. So adaptivity is key. And not just in case of our individuals, but in the organization. As an individual, we are adaptive. If we are going on a holiday, we are having plans. Okay, we will visit this site and we will looking into the beach and also some, for example, some museums we would like to visit. But the other day, it just rains, it just pours. So what we are going to do? We will adapt. We will look into other programs. We will look into other entertainment that we can do. But somehow, as we enter in an organization, we just lose this common sense. As Diana mentioned, common sense is not really common. It's not that common, right? So we just forget about it. And we see that those organization is not adaptive yet. So we need to enable the individuals to be adaptive in the organization. And with adaptive organization design, we can help to enable faster decision-making, an experiment mindset, a data-driven approach, because we will know what the teams are delivering, we will know what the feedback are. We will enable a growth mindset, because we are enabling our value streams and our individuals to be adaptive and go for that change and go for it. And overall, an organizational success and a system success. So if you build adaptive organization with these new structures, you will reach outcome over output, value over size, and efficient operation over complex structures. Thank you.